The latest from David Lynch, Mulholland Drive, begins with a woman, played by Laura Eleanor Harring, in danger. She's about to be murdered in the limo in which she's being driven high in the Hollywood Hills when she makes a miraculous escape and, crossing Mulholland Drive, finds her way to an apparently empty apartment. Meanwhile, fresh-faced Canadian actress-in-the-making Betty Elms, Naomi Watts, arrives in Hollywood determined to make the big time. The house where she's staying is the same house where that other woman, who's lost her memory, but who calls herself Rita when she sees a poster for the Rita Hayworth film Gilda, is hiding. The sweetly naive Betty decides to help Rita discover who she really is, a mystery which leads her into some seriously strange and unexpected directions.
Diane?
Camilla.
Diane, the car's waiting.
David Lynch is the most idiosyncratic director working in America today, and Mulholland Drive is one of his finest achievements, up there with Blue Velvet, Lost Highway and the early Twin Peaks episodes. If the story starts as a gripping, well-constructed mystery involving a Hitchcockian blonde innocent, superbly played by Australian actress Naomi Watts, and a femme fatale, it eventually becomes something much darker, more mysterious and more tantalising. The film actually started out as a TV series which was rejected by the American ABC and, after some delays, was turned into a feature film thanks to support from French production companies. That explains the fleeting appearances of some characters, like Robert Forster's detective, who was presumably originally to have been a recurring character in the series. But these elements only add to the Lynchian feel of this genuinely original and creepy film, which is full of great scenes. Watts' audition sequence is an absolute knockout. And great characters. Veteran Ann Miller, best known for her singing and dancing at MGM, plays a Hollywood landlady with great style. But the real star of Mulholland Drive is Lynch and his extraordinary vision of the world. 4.5 stars from me. We spoke to David Lynch and Naomi Watts about the shaky beginnings of this film.
It really did feel like everything was going really well, and David Lynch did change TV 10 years ago. And I really think TV has become more conservative, and it's not evolved. You know, there were a list of 4 foolscap pages of just nonsensical notes about things that had to be changed. And all the time, more time passing and more faith being lost, and really starting to think that this could be the only David Lynch thing that sits on a shelf and collects dust.
16 reasons.
Why?
This is the girl.
That girl is not in my film.
It's no longer your film.
In the pilot script, in his writing, it's not absolute, and in the film, shooting process, it's still not. And even when it's finished, I think your interpretation is different from my interpretation and everybody else's. And I think that's why he's reluctant to talk too much about what it is and what it means, because then it kills it. It becomes just that.
Your secret signs, they're all part of 16 reasons why I love you.
You're playing a dangerous game here.
Always, for me, it's the idea that comes, and being true to that idea and letting it unfold. And so I don't know the whole process of how ideas occur. All I know is ideas come in, become known to me, and I either fall in love with them or I don't. And if I fall in love, then I say, you be true to those ideas.
What's wrong? I don't know who I am.
So do you consider yourself an experimental filmmaker?
On The Straight Story, it was my most experimental film, because there, the result needed to be emotion. And so the emotion should be there. And you realize how critical the balance is to have it come out. Too much, it goes away. Too little, it doesn't happen. And so it was a real experiment, a tender experiment to get emotion. In rehearsals, you start one place and you experiment until it's feeling correct. And but every scene is an experiment in a way.
I'm dying to see it. It's interesting how Mulholland Drive is featuring as the best film of last year on so many significant lists. It opens here on the 31st of January.